Astro Kids, and welcome back. This is your horoscope for the solar eclipse new moon in Scorpio, happening at about 28 degrees. So here at the end of Scorpio, and this is taking place on the 14th of November. So this is a new moon solar eclipse in Scorpio at around 28 degrees. This is happening at 11:16 Eastern Standard Time. And this is happening in a conjunction to Mercury. Mercury will be exactly conjunct K2 at 25 degrees of Scorpio. We have some additional aspects as well. We have this solar eclipse making a square over to Neptune in Aquarius at about 24 degrees, along with a trine to Mars and Pisces at around 26 degrees. Now this is happening in the Jyotisha Nakshatra in Pada 4. So this is happening at the very end of Scorpio, where the energy is very intense. This is a very protective energy, and getting into this Pada, very much a creative energy. This is happening at the deepest part of the mind, where we are pulling in creative inspiration, making spiritual changes. So this is very intense. And so what does a solar eclipse represent? First and foremost, because this is eclipse season that we are closing out with this major event. And this started off of a lunar eclipse in Taurus. And so the major theme that is happening at this point is truth. And this has been a lunar eclipse in Taurus that has been all about revealing, releasing the truth. And we are coming to this point of a solar eclipse in Scorpio, to this point of the mind, of obsessions, of fears coming to the surface. And so during this solar eclipse, there is a lot of hidden truth that's coming to the light about what you need to heal and transform in your life. Where does the spiritual transformation need to take place? And so this is a huge moment of evolution, of growth, for those of you who are willing to enter into the darkness, to face those fears, to face those challenges and difficulties. Remembering that this is the most intense part of Scorpio, where there is a lot of obsessions, fears, addictions, attachments that are coming up as far as the lesson for this solar eclipse. And that eclipse being all about that transition from the light to the dark. And so we are coming into the space of coming out of the darkness into the light, in terms of the things that need to be faced at the deepest level. And this is especially a huge time where you can tap into deep insight, into deep wisdom, especially as Mercury is here in this conjunction with the new moon. So there is a lot of information, a lot of data that you can tap into, but remembering that this is happening at the end of Scorpio, where this is more spiritual, this is more emotional, this is more intense. And so tapping into that deep inner wisdom, into that deep insight of drawing in that inspiration, and for some of you, drawing in some creative inspiration as well during this moment. But this is a huge time where if you are going to create, if you are going to move forward, that releasing, facing those dark shadows, working through those fears, those obsessions, those doubts that come up, right? There's a lot of negativity, that self-destructive behaviors that can come up in the mind with this particular power. This is happening in this last Pada of Scorpio, where there is a lot of this deeper observation into the mind, because this is happening in the Pisces Navamsha. Right? This is at a place where a lot of this deep internal feeling and sensitivity can come to the surface. And so a lot that has to be faced, a lot that has to be thought about, a lot of insight and information that can come up that you weren't aware that was there before. And so really addressing and facing those areas of life as they start to come to the surface is a huge part of this healing process, this transformation process that will take us to the end of the year. Because remembering that after this, we have that major event of the Saturn-Jupiter conjunction where we are shifting collectively, right? There's a huge shift in terms of the world, in terms of the structure, in terms of where we are headed as we are moving forward. Now, those self-destructive tendencies, those obsessions, those fears, those doubts, those worries that can come up are especially prevalent as this is making a square over to Neptune. So Neptune is sitting at the end of Aquarius at this moment, and this is a time where Neptune has played a big role in society as it has been making these T-squares to what has been going on collectively with our Gemini and Sagittarian energy. And so this is a huge shift that we have come out of as the nodes shifted back into Taurus and Scorpio. But now we are seeing Neptune play a big role as well in terms of the confusion, the doubt, the worry, the fears that can come up. And so there's a lot going on at this moment in society in terms of what can come to the surface. And that Neptune energy being very mystical, very hidden, where there's a lot of secrets, a lot of escapism, a lot of doubt, a lot of worry that is hidden behind the scenes. And for many of you, this is a time where if you are going through these deep inner wounds, that this can no longer be hidden. This is a time of addressing it. This is a time of healing and working through these difficulties in order to move forward into this next space as we are moving forward. This is also in a trine to Mars. So once again, this is a time for action. This is a time for forward movement. And for some of you, difficulties can come up if you are not facing these deep issues. Remembering that this is at the end of Scorpio, where these deep, intense inner feelings can come to the surface. And Scorpio being controlled by Mars. So there is a lot of aggression, a lot of difficulties, a lot of obstacles and challenges that can come up. And it is a huge time of really taking the action to strive, to heal, to transform, to move forward, especially as this is Mars and Pisces. A lot of spiritual work and improvement that can take place at this time. But remember that if you are not doing that spiritual work to grow, to ascend, to move forward, there is a lot of difficulties and conflicts that can arise. And so keeping your anger and your impulses in check is a huge theme during this solar eclipse. A lot that is being shown to you, and remembering that that eclipse is all about a big, intense life change. And so for many of you, you're being thrust into this change if you're not taking it on yourself. And so big conflicts and difficulties that can arise as this is a solar eclipse in Scorpio in a trine to Mars. So trying to avoid these conflicts and difficulties by taking on that action yourself, by activating that Martian energy, that soldier energy of focus, of direction, of determination, of really striving towards your goals and your success at this time. So let's take a look at the horoscopes of how this is affecting you. So if you are a Scorpio rising or moon, this is taking place in your first house of self. This is you, your appearance, how you are coming off to others, how you are approaching the world. And so with this, this is a solar eclipse in your first house. Huge changes, right? And this is a lot, as this is Venus, Mercury, the Moon, the Sun, and K2, all in this gigantic stellium in your first house. And so this is a huge time of self-improvement. This is a huge time of focusing on how you can better yourself, on how you can move forward past your past experiences. And so affecting you in a huge way as this is shifting through your first house. If you are a Libra rising or Libra moon, this is a solar eclipse taking place in your second house of family, of possessions. And so this is a huge time for some of you to make changes within your family, right? Some of you may be finding out new truths, new hidden secrets coming up within your family. You may have situations to take care of. And so any unresolved issues or conflict that can arise here within your family, big time to deal with those issues so that everyone can heal and transform and move forward in this area. This may also affect your value system, your possessions, the things that you hold worth in. And so this is a huge time where you can see shifts and changes involving work, involving your money, involving your possessions. These are the types of scenarios that can take place here with this solar eclipse. And remembering that this is Mercury, this is Venus, this is the Sun, the Moon, and K2. And so this could potentially bring you some wealth and income as well from a potential change that needs to take place in this area. And so if you are healing, if you're doing the work, if you are taking the necessary action, you can actually benefit from this transit as well. This is for if you are a Virgo rising or Virgo moon. This will be a solar eclipse taking place in your third house of siblings, of communications, and short distance travel. So this is an eclipse, but this is along with Venus and Mercury. So this is happening in a huge way where this is affecting the relationship, this is affecting the communication that is happening as far as your siblings, as far as your relatives, as far as those who you have a close connection with, those who you are communicating with on a daily basis. And so this is a huge area where you may have to deal with unresolved issues with your siblings. Also, this could be a time of working on your communication, working on your language, working on writing. And so these are the types of scenarios that can happen here. This is also an area of short distance travel. And so you might find yourself doing some short distance travel at this time to fulfill a purpose. However, what's more than likely here is an issue that needs to be resolved with a sibling.